Breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Was it a comet, an unknown spacecraft in the sky? Nah, just a SpaceX launch. Coming up, we're going to show you more photos from people who saw it across North Carolina.
Rocky Mount police are investigating a shooting behind me at this apartment complex off of Boyd Court. Coming up, I'm going to walk you through this crime scene.
As we head out this morning, the heat is very manageable. Not a ton for us currently, but all of these alerts depicting a bigger or different picture headed this way. We're going to talk about how our July 4th holiday looks with the heat coming up.
And a swimmer vanished after going into Jordan Lake. The search for him continues, and it comes after 2 drownings in that same area in recent weeks.
If you notice a little more traffic on the roads today, that's because holiday travel is in full swing. Just ahead, why more people are expected to head to that 4th of July destination by heading on the roads instead of the skies.
Good morning, everyone. It is 6 o'clock. Tell you what, it pays to get up early here, where within the last hour we saw that SpaceX Starlink satellite launch into the skies over downtown Raleigh. Great to have you with us. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Jeff Hogan. Yeah, there's all kinds of value in the early birds joining us every day, right? And Elizabeth Gardner has the day off. So Anthony Baglione in the WR Severe Weather Center, we're going to squeeze one more comfortable day out of this, aren't we?
Yeah, today's going to be decent for us. And then we start to really heat things back up as we get into July 4th, the weekend. It's just going to be kind of a trend that we reverse to with all of that heat out there. It was cool watching that SpaceX launch because, of course, with all the fireworks celebrations here just across home, it was almost like we got our own personal firework up in the sky out there. We head outside this morning, though. There's our beautiful shot in Raleigh. Flags are very, very still out there. A really nice sunrise, and we're going to be treated to actually a pretty decent day today. If you're planning here to hit the roads, head out and travel, you should be okay across our part of the state and our region, really. Upper 60s, close to 70 is where we sit. 63 there, a little bit cooler in Roxborough, but still starting off with very manageable humidity levels. We're looking at temperatures 82 there in the mountains today, 92 in Raleigh, 80 at the beaches. It really starts to crank back up, though, here into our July 4th. We will go over that forecast, Brett, here in a few.
Thanks, Anthony. Let's take a look at traffic. I'm Brett Neeson for Ken Smith here. 6:02 on your Wednesday morning, and do have a couple of things to tell you about. There is some sort of road hazard on the on-ramp from 540 onto 87 coming into Raleigh from the eastern part of Wake County. Then we do have a new crash that did just pop up off of Hammond Road near Tryon Road. Not seeing any delays on the sensors, so that's good news so far this morning. No delays out there either. This is I-440 at Capitol Boulevard. Zoomed in look up on Capitol Boulevard, but right now it's looking good right now if you have to hit the road, whether you're traveling or whether you have to work today here right before the July 4th holiday.
Breaking news we're following as police in Rocky Mount are on the scene of a shooting at an apartment complex. Nick Perlin got there in the WRAL breaking news tracker just in the last 15-20 minutes. Nick, what have you been able to learn so far from there?
Well, Jeff, I got here at the Rolling Meadows apartment complex not too long ago, and Rocky Mount police are focusing in on some of these cars behind me. I'm going to get behind the camera just to give you a better idea of what I'm talking about. And when I arrived here, I saw crime scene tape covering these cars next to this Rocky Mount police car. We do know that they confirmed with me that there was a shooting here as soon as I arrived. It looks like you can see some investigators over there taking some pictures of those cars. We're still trying to learn more about what exactly happened here. Still no word on any injuries, but I'm going to keep asking investigators for more information, and as more information comes available, I'll be sure to update you. Live in Rocky Mount, Nick Perlin, WRAL News.
Good morning. I'm Chris Levingood in the WRAL Live Center. So many of you called into the WRAL studios today about this right here, thinking, oh, is this a comet? What is this? This is actually a SpaceX launch that happened this morning, and the video you're seeing here is from a WRAL photographer. But since you have been calling, we decided you sent us photos. Why not show them to you, right? So this is the first photo I'm going to show you. This is from Gerald White, and this is a pretty good photo. You can see clearly the rocket going to the sky there, even some other objects in the sky. And then this next photo is from Janet. She was at the Executive Airport in Franklin County. This is from Stevie, headed toward Zebulon. Anita at Garland, North Carolina, another good picture here. And Kathy Gardner sent this photo from Fayetteville. So if you've got photos and you haven't had a chance to see yours on this morning's show, you can, of course, go to WRAL.com and click the Report It button to submit photos like this one.
Police in Durham are investigating a crash that left a car on its roof in the woods. This happened on Denfield Street just before 1:30 this morning. This is video from the WRAL breaking news tracker. We are working to learn what led up to this crash and if anyone was hurt.
For the third time in recent weeks, a swimmer vanishes while in Jordan Lake. Search crews were looking in the water in the area of Martha's Chapel Road and Farrington Road into the early morning hours. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is live at Jordan Lake this morning. Kelsey, we know crews left there around 1:20 this morning, and the search lasted for several hours.
Renee did, and we're working to find out if crews were able to find that swimmer or if they're going to come back again this morning and continue their search. They were here until almost 1:30 this morning. We'll give you a look now at video from the WRAL breaking news tracker of that search. It lasted nearly 5 hours. Crews were dispatched around 8:45 last night. The search was focused at Martha's Chapel Road and Farrington Road. Take a listen to radio traffic when crews were dispatched.
Hispanic male, possibly 52 years of age. Caller will flag down the first responders. Advise a lot of cars are parked on the side of the roadway. Same as possibly been in the water for over 20 minutes.
And we reported about 2 other drownings here at Jordan Lake since late May. So this is just a reminder this morning to be safe out on the water as we're headed into the 4th of July. And we'll be sure to keep you updated on this search. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live at Jordan Lake.
Millions of people are getting ready to hit the road for their Independence Day trips. AAA says this will be one of the busiest days of the holiday week, and WRAL's Laura Levine is right off the Beltline here in Raleigh this morning with a record number of North Carolinians expected to be driving to their destinations for the 4th. Laura?
Jeff, good morning. Right now we are standing right off of 440, and yes, we're going to see a lot of people here hit the roads today. Listen to this. More than 2.2 million North Carolinians will travel 50 miles or more away from home. That's according to AAA. And of that number, 1.9 million will do so by vehicle. So we're talking about nearly 2 million drivers here on the road. Drivers can expect to see that heavy traffic and congestion later throughout the day. AAA predicts we'll have 100,000 more drivers than we saw last year during this holiday period. It's best to avoid rush hour times by leaving early in the morning or later if in the evening if you can. The holiday travel period was extended this year with more people working remote. AAA tells us more people started leaving for their destinations earlier this week with plans to extend that vacation throughout the weekend.
They're doing these really big bucket list trips that they were saving, from 2020. They're just now getting it all together. They're just now getting the whole family and friends together, and they're taking these really big trips. So travel's bounced back in a big way, and I think that's what we're going to see. If Memorial Day was an indicator, 4th of July is going to be really, really busy.
And the 4th of July road trips are a bit cheaper this year compared to last year. According to Gas Buddy, the national average price for gas is $3.49 for the 4th of July. That's what they're predicting. That's cheaper, or the cheapest we've seen for this holiday since 2021. Laura Levine, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
So those gas prices might be something to celebrate. Laura touched on the national average price. Here's a look at the average prices for North Carolina right now. According to AAA, the state average is $3.30, just 2 cents more than a week ago. In Raleigh, it's $3.36. That's the same as yesterday. And again, the national average at $3.50 today. For the lowest gas prices in the country, North Carolina ranks 14th. If you're heading south on your road trip, you can find lower prices in South Carolina. The average price there is 8 cents cheaper than here at $3.22.
What about flying? Airports will also be crowded today. AAA expects the number of people flying for the holiday will set a new record, nearly 7% more than last year. If you're headed out to RDU, airport officials say get there at least 2 hours before your flight takes off and reserve a parking spot a day ahead.
People in Jamaica are bracing for the arrival of Hurricane Beryl. The storm remains a very powerful Category 4 hurricane. The National Hurricane Center is forecasting life-threatening storm surge as it nears Jamaica. Now, the National Hurricane Center says Beryl was the strongest storm ever recorded in the Atlantic in July before it weakened slightly to a Category 4. It was already the strongest storm ever in June. At least 7 people are dead in the devastation Beryl has caused across the Caribbean. Jamaica's prime minister is urging people to seek higher, safer ground and to not wait.
President Joe Biden is addressing his debate struggles for the first time. He spoke at a campaign fundraiser last night in Northern Virginia. Reporters say Biden apologized to his supporters for his performance. The White House continues to defend the president as physically and mentally fit. Biden is scheduled to do an on-camera interview Friday and a press conference next week.
You can celebrate Independence Day early tonight in Garner. From 5 until 10, head out to Lake Benson Park to see some fireworks. There will also be food vendors as well as a kids zone with inflatables.
10 after 6 right now on your July 3rd. An 84-year-old pilot is hurt after a plane crash in North Carolina. What authorities say happened in the moments before that crash.
New developments in the search for a woman who disappeared in the Bahamas while on a yoga retreat. What investigators say they found and what they're still looking for.
As we head out there this morning, things are nice and calm for us as we get ready to head into the July 4th festivities. It is a little bit muggy, but not too bad. That's going to change up here as we head through the next little while. We're going to talk about a big-time warm-up on the way coming up.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
It's a nice, decent summer start for us this morning, and if you're headed out here in the next couple of hours, temperatures are mainly going to be in the upper 60s and low 70s. Let's say you need to get the pets walked. If you can do that early this morning or even into this evening outside of the heating of the day, because we're going to be still at 92 this afternoon. That's going to be really starting to warm those pavement temperatures up too. Of course, don't ever leave those pets, kids in the cars, things like that this time of the year. We really want to emphasize that. 92 here around the triangle, 80 degrees at the beaches. Rip currents are still in the moderate category, so we could see some issues with that, so be careful. And then we look ahead to tomorrow. Very minimal chances here, but we do have some strong storm chances, mainly north of the triangle there up toward our far northern counties. We'll be watching that, but it looks like a pretty low chance.
All right, let's take a look at traffic now. It's 6:14 here on your Wednesday morning. We do just have that one crash that's on Hammond Road. The rest of the triangle looking pretty good so far this morning. We're not seeing any delays over in Durham on the Durham Freeway. 540 looking good, the Beltline looking good, and if you're coming in on I-87 from Wendell, we're looking good. That is that crash right there, Hammond near Tryon Road, just north of Tryon. No delays on the sensors, which is good news. This is I-87 at Hodge Road, and you can see that 87 looking good in both directions. Let's go over to Renee Chu now. Renee, we have another small plane crash here in North Carolina.
Brett, this was in the western part of our state. The pilot was an 84-year-old man, and he's in the hospital after crashing a small plane in North Carolina. This was at the Lexington airport around 8 last night. Troopers say the plane crashed while trying to take off. The plane never really got off the ground and flipped over at the end of the runway. The pilot was pinned inside and may have suffered a head injury. The FAA will investigate.
New developments in the disappearance of a Chicago woman who was at a yoga retreat in the Bahamas. 41-year-old Taylor Casey was last seen at a Paradise Island yoga retreat June 19th. Officials at that retreat reported her missing the next day. Police found her phone in the ocean nearby. Her journal and other personal items were found, but police say they have not found her passport. The news comes as a shock to her family and friends back in Chicago.
I want all of Chicago, all the world to know that she is very loved and is a wonderful person, that her disappearance is very unlike her. She's not one to just, to disappear.
Bahamian authorities say they have sent divers, drones, tracking dogs, all in their ongoing search. The U.S. State Department is also involved.
Alaska's Denali National Park remains closed today as a wildfire burns near its entrance. Additional crews arrived yesterday to help fight the fire. Evacuation orders were issued for the park earlier this week. Denali officials say there has not been an active wildfire in that area for the last 100 years.
Ahead this morning on Today, a first look at new research out of California that may determine what sounds attract sharks.
Most of the time, we literally see sharks swim right underneath people. They don't change their speed. They don't change their direction. They just completely ignore them.
Because we're not their natural prey.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're not food for them.
Exactly. If that were the case, then Southern California would be Costco for white sharks.
NBC's Ann Thompson was able to go out with shark scientists as they test the animals' hearings. And it's all coming up this morning on Today, which starts right here at 7 o'clock on WRAL.
Drought conditions in eastern North Carolina are cause for concern. Excessive heat and weeks without decent rain have devastated crops. Congressman Don Davis is asking for an emergency drought declaration. Much of eastern North Carolina has moved from abnormally dry to a moderate drought. Farmers say crops like corn and tobacco are seeing severe damage, with 75 to 100% of corn crops lost to these relentless conditions.
It's an unfortunate thing. You plant all year to grow a crop, and you see it in the field doing well, and then something that we have no control over, and that can come along and take that from you.
Davis says there is a need for federal resources as the farmers combat inflation as well. Well, we certainly do need the rain, but we're going to stay dry today, and the skies are clear for a really cool phenomenon that we saw happen around the 5 o'clock hour, Anthony.
Yeah, we've been getting lots of questions about this. This was right about 4:55 or so this morning. We were able to catch this on one of our cameras that we have access to here across the area. What this was is not a comet, not a shooting star, anything like that. It was the SpaceX rocket that launched in Cape Canaveral, Florida. It moved in such a way along the coast that we could see that, and you can see that rocket here. This is a picture from Belinda Beasley. First of all, thank you for sending that in, our Pine Level area. Right about there is the rocket as that traveled along. It made just kind of for an eerie or really cool sight out there this morning. There's another shot that we got sent in from Ike Wren in Henderson, a beautiful right there this morning. If you have pictures, I'm going to show you where to send those here in just a second, but we love seeing them out there. It moved along our coast after that launch in Florida with the sun coming up in the east. It was visible here in Raleigh, and I'm sure across a large part of our state. WRAL.com/weather watchers. That's where we'd love to send. If you can send those pictures to that link, it helps us kind of tell that weather story, and then we can get those on air and show them here to everyone else. Let's talk about where we sit right now, though, because no more rocket launches. We are calm out there currently. We have a lot of sunshine working its way through. We have a few clouds. We have some dry weather for us today, although we could use some rainfall coming through. I just don't see us getting a lot. Here's a look at Futurecast, though. So we start you off this morning. That's right about now. We see the light shower activity down to our south. Not much as we go through today, but what happens is because there is a heating difference between the land and the water, the land heats up a lot faster. We get kind of a boundary that sets up, and so there could be some storms that try and come along shore. That's mainly going to be into South Carolina. We're quiet the next few days. You look up toward the Ohio Valley, that's where it could be a little bit more active. Chicago, Indianapolis, Columbus, they may have some weather to deal with here as we head into July 4th. We're looking just fine, though, the next couple days. Fireworks should be good to go. There's a slim chance tomorrow afternoon for a shower or maybe a stronger thunderstorm here for our far northern counties. This is not likely to be a big storm system or anything that I would cancel plans for, but just want to make you aware of that here if you're headed out tomorrow. In the tropics, of course, we have Hurricane Beryl. This is the latest advisory. This does take it across the Yucatan Peninsula as a Category 2 hurricane, working its way close to the Mexico-Texas kind of border there as we get into next week. That would be as a tropical storm. We're looking at temperatures, though. Check those out. 98 tomorrow, 100 on Friday. We continue that hot trend there into next week with a couple more rain chances there, Brett.
Thanks, Anthony. Not looking forward to the 100-degree heat out there, but we're going to make do with it. Here's traffic now. Wednesday, 6:20 right now on your morning, and we do have just that one crash out there. A lot of green on our boards, no delays on the sensors, which is really good news if you're coming in from Wake Forest on US 1 southbound. Not seeing any delays right now. Tryon Road, just north of Tryon Road on Hammond Road. It's an earlier crash, damage-only crash, should be in the clearing stages at this point. Want to go over to Durham real quick and show you that the Durham Freeway, when we get that map over there, is delay-free at this point, which is really good news. And then we have our live look at US 1 at Walnut Street, which is also looking pretty good. Renee and Jeff.
Only on WRAL, a man whose son was killed in a stabbing shares his grief.
This is the last place that my son would live his life.
32. His push for justice as police are still working to make an arrest.
And Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are going to be teammates for the first time. The opponent they're preparing for later this month, coming up in What's Trending.
And here are your winning NC Education lottery numbers on your screen right now.
This What's Trending report, sponsored by Rug & Home.
All right, coming up today in what's trending right now, USA women's basketball and WNBA. You're going to have a little mix going together here as they warm up for the Olympics.
Yeah, they'll play a WNBA all-star team led by Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. So the rookie sensations, who are college rivals, will be playing together for the first time. They'll face Team USA on July 20th, just days before the start of the Olympics.
So it's pretty cool what they're doing, actually. All the WNBA All-Stars are going to be split up for their All-Star game with the Olympians against the All-Stars. So it's going to be pretty cool. They're all WNBA All-Stars.
And then Clark and Reese, rivals become friends? We'll see.
Well, we'll see. But just act professionally. Jeremy Irons is the latest star to join Apple TV's The Morning Show. He'll play Jennifer Aniston's character's father in the upcoming season 4.
Can I just say, so many people have asked if I've watched The Morning Show, and my answer is, look, I already do a version of The Morning Show, and, I just want to watch something else, but huge fan base for that.
Yeah, well, thankfully you don't do that version.
Yeah, a lot less drama here on our morning show, for sure.
100%. Tonight, there'll be fireworks lighting up the sky above Wake Forest. The party gets started inside Husky Stadium at Heritage High School at 5:30. There'll be music, food and dessert trucks, and much more fun all night long until the fireworks start. That's at 9:30. Tomorrow, there'll be the Children's Parade at 10:30 on North Main Street and the Art and More in the Park Festival. That's at Holding Park from 11 to 1.
If you notice more traffic congestion on the roads today, that's because holiday travel is in full swing. Just ahead, what AAA is saying about the record-breaking travel numbers and the best time to head out.
As we check out where we sit this morning, things are calm, but we look at those big-time heat alerts across the country, heat advisories, excessive heat warnings. A lot of that's going to work its way in our direction. But this morning, though, look at this beautiful shot that we're left with out there. We will leave you with this morning and talk about our forecast for July 4th coming up.
And we know this has been turbulent. Hurricane Beryl headed towards Jamaica as a powerful Category 4 storm. The effort people are taking to try to stay safe as the storm has already left 7 people dead elsewhere in the Caribbean.